In this video, we're going to talk about social awareness and empathy and how you can use it more effectively in the workplace. Hi, I'm Ron with Leadskill, and I help leaders be more effective in their teams using emotional intelligence. So, social awareness, it's not like a phrase that we use every day, and yet it's a very important aspect of the larger picture of emotional intelligence. So let me remind us again, emotional intelligence is all about being aware of and able to manage emotions effectively, both in ourselves and in working with other people. And so social awareness is that piece about in working with other people, and particularly being aware of emotions. Social awareness is the ability to understand the emotional makeup of other people and how your words and actions affect others. So just from that definition alone, I hope that you can see that awareness is just one part of this picture. And you can be aware of things, but not necessarily empathetic. Let's break that down a little bit further. Being aware of something in the first place is actually quite a step up, because the fact is a lot of things are coming at us, a lot of things are happening around us that we don't even tune into, we're not even aware of. And so bringing things from the great vast expanse of our unawareness, even though it's maybe just right at our nose and things are happening around us, but we don't really pay attention. Raising our awareness and starting to notice what's going on with other people, noticing their facial expression, noticing the tone of voice, noticing body language. All of these are helping us to increase our social awareness if we will just tune in to other people. It doesn't equate to empathy yet, though. I've actually found the distinction between different types of empathy, the one provided by Daniel Goleman and Paul Ekman, where they actually take us through different stages or different kinds of empathy. Like, you can have an understanding about what's going on with other people, or what we might call a cognitive empathy. You have a good thought. You can even imagine and put yourself in the shoes of someone else and have a good cognitive empathy. And yet that's not at the same level as being able to enter into other people's experience and actually feel what they're feeling, or being able to have at least a resonant emotional experience with other people. If someone is feeling really passionate about something, to enter into their passion and get excited about it with them. Or if someone feels, really taken aback and they're hurt, and you can actually feel their pain, you can feel the hurt along with them. That is an emotional or an affective level of empathy. And so thinking versus feeling, those are two different types of empathy. Both, you can be empathetic, but it's still at a cognitive level. At an emotional level, you're actually demonstrating and getting into the other person's experience so that they truly feel heard, they feel that you get them. Now, there's a third aspect of empathy, which is what Goleman and Ekman called empathic concern, where you translate that understanding or that feeling into action. You take action and you actually work or do something that demonstrates empathy. So let me give you an example. I gave a project to someone on my team working for me, and I thought I spelled out the terms pretty clear about what we were looking for, and when we needed to have this, all the details that were important to me. And it was only after I checked in later that I realized that I had not really anticipated or understood the anxiety that came up for this other person. Like, they really wanted to do high quality work, and I hadn't answered the questions that they had. I'd answered the questions that I anticipated that I thought would be there, but hadn't actually asked them, what their questions were, or checked in with them early on in the project to see how I'd been heard and how they were processing this. And so I missed an opportunity for empathy. When I did finally realize that there was a gap between us, that was the moment for me of cognitive empathy. Like, oh, yeah, I hadn't thought of that or anticipated that particular concern and some of the anxiety that came up. So then I went to the level of emotional empathy, that I was like, ooh, wow, that probably is a very uncomfortable place to be, and didn't set them up for success because they were feeling all this anxiety and concern and questions on their mind, and also had this impression that I wasn't very approachable, that I didn't really want them to bother me, and probably I was giving that off. I just have to admit it. And so another level of empathy was actually understanding how they were feeling. But it was only whenever I stepped in to, first of all, say, hey, not your fault. I own this. This is me. I should have checked in earlier, and I didn't really take time to ask, what questions you had and spend that time with you. Only when I communicated that and relieved them of the burden did I actually show empathic concern, and the team member was able to then, deliver even better work than what I had anticipated, than what I'd asked for, because they were able to tap into their own creativity and get past some of the concerns and some of the emotions that were holding them back. And so that is an example of just empathy and how it operates on different levels. And we may think that we're empathetic as leaders, but we're really not coming across as empathetic. And I hope that by thinking in these categories of different types of empathy, that we can be very good at listening or observing. We can have a cognitive level of empathy, and we think that that does the job, that's good enough. In some situations, that is enough. And I've also seen leaders make the mistake of thinking that I feel your pain, or I feel what you're feeling, that emotional empathy is all that's needed. And they really don't grasp on a cognitive level some of the complications, the concerns, and what other people are dealing with, or they don't then demonstrate that or put it into action and do something with it and take it to a level of empathic concern and action. And so we all have blind spots. We can all get better. So learning how to demonstrate empathy is really an effective way, I find, to take social awareness up a notch to another level. And so if we just retrace our steps a little bit, to be in an unaware place in the first instance means that we're not even tuning in to other people in terms of what they're thinking or feeling. And so that's just a lack of social awareness. Once you start playing the game of upping your social awareness, then thinking about different types of empathy, like your cognitive empathy, or being able to think into the situation and see the parts and the pieces and the whole from the other person's perspective. That's one contribution. Being able to feel what they're feeling and empathize with their felt experience is another expression of that. Taking action, some sort of substantial, proactive stance or action on their part, is another demonstration of empathy. Now, how do we actually manage social awareness and get better at it? I've already given some clues earlier on. First of all, listen. And listen on a whole nother level, on a deeper level. Listen not just with our ears, but also with our eyes. Observe things, like I said, observe body language, observe facial expression, observe the environment around a person and what's going on around them. Sometimes even make observations beyond just the present moment. Inquire into what was happening just before, an incident took place, or where a person was thinking mentally, what was happening from their perspective, is a way to demonstrate empathy as well as social awareness. So listen and observe. Now, another way to practice social awareness is to use our imaginations and to actually project ourselves into their situation. Now, this is very challenging. So one way it might apply for myself is I don't know what it's like, the experience to be in the workplace as a woman. I have to use my imagination. I have to listen to the women who share with me about what it is like and some of the challenges. And I have to listen empathetically and not dismissively, or not just say, well, that's, silly, or that's dumb. That's not going to help me understand, first of all, on a cognitive level, and develop some type of empathy with them. And so I have to try to imagine what it's like to be a woman in the workplace, or what it's like to be a minority. Now, I actually had an experience of that when I lived in Asia, and I was a minority in society, as opposed to in the US, where I'm not a minority in most places. And so being able to imagine it is another way that we can access social awareness. But I find that we have to, in the first place, be willing and non-judgmental about the sort of things that are coming at us. We have to suspend judgment if we hope to increase our social awareness and our empathy in working with other people. I hope these tips have been helpful, and that you got something about emotional intelligence in the workplace and how you can increase your social awareness. We've got more tips like this on our channel, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next video.